Can China overtake America? Imagine it's the year 2045. The world's biggest companies are Chinese. The world's most important trade routes are controlled by Beijing. The Chinese yuan challenges the US dollar. And for the first time in over a century, America is no longer the world's dominant superpower. Sounds impossible? Well, millions of people believe this future is already being written. For decades, China has been rising at a speed rarely seen in human history. Entire cities have appeared almost overnight. High-speed rail lines stretch across the country. Chinese companies are competing with some of the biggest names in Silicon Valley. And every year, the same question becomes louder: can China overtake America? Today, we're going beyond the headlines to examine the numbers, the strengths, the weaknesses, and the future of the biggest geopolitical rivalry of the 21st century. Because the answer might surprise you. Let's begin. America has dominated the world for so long that many people assume it has always been this way. But history tells a different story. In the early 1900s, the British Empire was the world's dominant power. Its navy ruled the seas. Its currency was trusted globally. Its influence stretched across continents. Then came 2 world wars. As Britain weakened, another nation rose. The United States. By the end of World War II, America possessed the world's strongest economy, the most powerful military, and enormous global influence. The dollar became the foundation of international trade. American companies expanded worldwide. Hollywood, music, technology, and culture spread across the planet. For decades, the United States stood alone at the top. Then something unexpected happened. China woke up. In 1978, China was still a relatively poor country. Its economy was smaller than many Western nations. Millions lived in poverty. Its industries were underdeveloped. But under economic reforms, China began opening itself to global trade. Factories multiplied. Exports exploded. Foreign investment poured in. What followed was one of the greatest economic transformations in history. Over the next 4 decades, China lifted hundreds of millions of people out of poverty. Cities expanded at breathtaking speed. Entire industrial regions emerged. And China became known as the factory of the world. Today, nearly every household owns products that were manufactured in China. Smartphones, electronics, home appliances, clothing, machinery. China became essential to the global economy. And that economic rise changed everything. By the 2010s, analysts began making bold predictions. Some claimed China's economy would eventually surpass America's. Others argued that China's century had arrived. But economic size alone doesn't determine who leads the world. To understand the real picture, we need to compare the 2 giants directly. Let's start with the economy. China's economy is enormous. It is the world's manufacturing powerhouse. Its supply chains reach every corner of the globe. China produces more steel, cement, ships, solar panels, and electric vehicles than any other nation. The country has invested heavily in infrastructure. Its high-speed rail network is the largest on Earth. Its ports are among the busiest in the world. And its government can mobilize resources at a scale few nations can match. These advantages have helped China become a global economic giant. But America still holds cards that are incredibly difficult to replace. The United States remains home to the world's most valuable companies. Many of the technologies that shape modern life were created or perfected in America. From Silicon Valley startups to multinational corporations, the US continues to dominate innovation. And innovation matters. Because the future isn't just about making products. It's about inventing the next generation of products. Artificial intelligence. Quantum computing. Advanced semiconductors. Biotechnology. Space technology. These industries could determine which nation leads the future. And right now, America still has a significant advantage. But economic competition is only one part of the story. Power also depends on money. Not how much you have, but what money the world trusts. This is where the US dollar enters the picture. Most global trade is conducted in dollars. Oil is largely traded in dollars. International reserves are heavily held in dollars. Global investors trust American financial markets more than almost any other market. This gives Washington extraordinary influence. When the United States imposes sanctions, countries pay attention. When the Federal Reserve changes interest rates, markets across the world react. China wants to reduce this dependence on the dollar. It has promoted the UN internationally. It has signed trade agreements using local currencies. But replacing the dollar is far easier said than done. Trust takes decades to build. And right now, the dollar remains king. Then there's military power. This is where many discussions become heated. China has spent years modernizing its armed forces. Its navy has expanded rapidly. Its missile technology has improved dramatically. Its cyber capabilities continue to grow. And Beijing has become increasingly assertive in the South China Sea and around Taiwan. For many observers, China's military rise is impossible to ignore. But America still possesses the most powerful military on Earth. The US operates hundreds of military facilities across the globe. Its aircraft carriers project power across oceans. Its air force remains unmatched. Its defense partnerships stretch from Europe to Asia. And perhaps most importantly, America doesn't stand alone. Countries such as Japan, South Korea, Australia, Britain, and many NATO members cooperate closely with Washington. China's military strength is growing. But America's alliance network remains one of its greatest advantages. Now let's talk about something many people overlook. Demographics. Because sometimes the biggest threats aren't external. They're internal. China's population boom helped fuel its rise. A huge workforce powered factories and economic growth. But today, China faces a serious challenge. Its population is aging. Birth rates are falling. The workforce is shrinking. This means fewer workers supporting more retirees. Economists warn that demographic decline could slow China's growth for decades. And unlike building a railway or a factory, demographic problems cannot be solved quickly. America faces challenges too. But immigration continues to bring talent, workers, and entrepreneurs into the country. That gives the United States an important long-term advantage. Now here's where things become truly fascinating. Because global power isn't only about economics or military strength. It's also about influence. Think about this. Millions of people dream of studying at American universities. Hollywood movies dominate global entertainment. American brands are recognized almost everywhere. English remains the world's most influential language. American culture shapes global trends in ways that are difficult to measure. This is called soft power. And soft power can be just as important as military power. China has tried to expand its influence through media, trade, and infrastructure projects. Its Belt and Road Initiative has funded roads, ports, and railways across multiple continents. Some countries welcome these investments. Others worry about becoming too dependent on Beijing. As a result, China's influence is growing. But America still maintains a significant advantage in global cultural influence. So where does all of this leave us? Can China overtake America? The answer depends on what we mean by overtake. Could China become the world's largest economy? Possibly. Many economists believe that remains achievable. Could China continue growing its military and technological capabilities? Absolutely. Could Beijing become even more influential globally? Without question. But replacing the United States as the world's dominant superpower is a much bigger challenge. Because global leadership isn't based on one category. It's based on many. Economic strength, military power, technology, innovation, financial influence, demographics, alliances, culture, political stability. And when all these factors are combined, America still holds significant advantages. That doesn't mean China will stop rising. Far from it. China is likely to remain one of the most powerful nations on Earth for decades to come. But the future may not belong entirely to Washington or Beijing. Instead, the world could be entering a new era. An era defined by two competing giants. One established. One rising. Both powerful. Both ambitious. Both determined to shape the future. And that rivalry may define the rest of the century. So can China overtake America? Maybe in some areas, maybe even in economic size. But surpassing the United States in overall global power is a far more difficult challenge. The contest is still underway. The outcome remains uncertain. And the world is watching. What do you think? Will China become the next global superpower, or will America remain number one throughout the 21st century? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe, turn on notifications, and join us for more deep dives into geopolitics, global power, and the future of our world. Thanks for watching.